What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome along to episode number 4 of the F1 23 Driver Career Series here for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix at the Baku City Circuit. If you guys did miss the last episode, make sure to go check that one out before you see this one as we jump into the qualifying session. In terms of upgrades, a lot of time between this and the last race, so we've got a few upgrades coming in, 7 to be precise. Mainly on the aero and the chassis department, and a few in durability as well. In terms of the rivalry, after Logan Sargent's retirement last time out, we lead him 6-1 with 4 races to go. So I'll try and keep that up as time goes by. So pushing on now to our first qualifying lap of the session. Now, crucially, have our first sprint race of the series today. So qualifying not as crucial for us. If we start dead last, I won't be too concerned. We have that time to make up some more places during the sprint race going into the Grand Prix itself. So pushing on to that first qualifying run, seeing as how we emerge here. Of course, our AlphaTauri, one of the slowest cars on the grid, not to mention a warm power unit from the first 2 rounds as well. Mainly our gearbox we'll be quite concerned about over the course of the race weekend. So charging towards the line here, hopefully it all holds up, coming towards the line here. 1 minute 45.6 is our first time, 1.2 off of Stroll there in P8, so down in P10 to start things off. And as we push further on into the session here, we're going to accelerate time. P13 we come back into the garages, and if we fall all the way to the bottom of the order, what currently about a second or so off of Oscar Piastri and far off our teammate Nick De Vries. So pushing on now to our second qualifying effort to try and get ourselves out of Q1 once again. Pushing towards the line here, a minute to go. We're half second up right now. It doesn't look like it'll be enough, not by a long shot. We need another half second or so. And Jordan was getting in these last few seconds, as we all have to say. Unfortunately there, crossed the line, P20. De Vries as of right now joining us in the back row. But as you come to the end of qualifying then, we get knocked out at dead last. De Vries improves to 17th. So Zhou Guanyu, De Vries, Stroll, Sargent and ourselves, we get knocked out in the first qualifying session. But there's still plenty of time to come, plenty of opportunities to make that time back up. So without further ado, let's start on that and jump into the sprint race.
Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Russell, Hamilton, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Ocon, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Bottas, Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Zhou, De Vries, Stroll, Sargent and Cohen. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
Okay, we've got that relief of having points on the board finally, so let's keep that form up and get another top 10 finish today, please.
Well, that feat could be very unlikely as you'll line up here in P20 for the sprint race in Azerbaijan. Now, in terms of the strategy for this race, normally we'd go on the medium tyres, but I want to try and take a gamble with this one. Thanks to the increased tyre wear mod, we've seen how much the tyres wear off in the early laps of a Grand Prix. So I don't feel like the mediums will be able to go the whole way and then without us having to make another pit stop. So I'm going to try and take a risk here. We're going to use our only set of hard tyres in this sprint race. Hopefully they'll get us a bit closer, if not to the end, compared to the mediums. Everyone else on those yellow walled medium tyres, so we could be at a pace advantage here to roll off for the start of the formation lap. The main target for this one is just try and make up some places, and I'm not sure if it's anything towards the rivalry. We're going to try and beat Logan Sargent as well if we can. He lines up alongside us there on the back row, make our way through towards turn 1. So that's of course our target for the sprint race, is try and make up those places. Once again, get us towards the top 10 as we pull into our grid spot now, looking to try and get as straight as we can. We'll try and jump in front of Sargent at the start here. We're a bit too far to the left in our pit box. Unfortunately, we get penalised for that, so our starting position gets reset further back for failing to park correctly as Sargent takes his place on our right. Here we go now. 5 red lights for the first sprint race of the series here in Azerbaijan. And it's lights out, foot to the floor, go, go, go. Great getaway compared to Sargent and Stroll. And go 3 wide before even reaching the first corner. Going towards turn 1, De Vries there in front of us, 4 wide. And there goes Stroll into turn 1, moves in front of all 3 of us here. We're in between, sandwiched between De Vries and Sargent. We get away with it nice and easy. Up into P18 and try and go around the outside of Stroll here at turn number 2. Very close to hitting the back of Zhou's Alfa Romeo. We did tap his Alfa Romeo. Just a bit there, we get a warning as a result. They're coming off turn 2, gained 2 places so far. Stroll's our next target there in front. We're a bit more concerned with taking on Guan Yu. You go towards turn number 3. We're struggling with the braking zone throughout the qualifying, so hopefully we won't have too many struggles with it today as well. We go to the inside of Stroll, try to go to the inside of Stroll. Can't quite make it happen. Let's go side by side with these two go side by side in front of us into turn 4. Stroll on the inside there, contact between the pair of them. Let's try and follow her through whoever wins this battle. Stroll goes on the outside. We're going to try and take Zhou if we can, but Zhou's still going at the inside of the Canadian into turn 5 and through 6 now out of the chicane. Stroll gets in front, but there goes Zhou on the outside, making his move on the exit. Good traction. The pull to the outside of Stroll here before he jumps back into line, going in towards the castle section on the outside, and then the inside of Stroll going to try and switch back going towards the castle. That's an absolutely fantastic move. We're up into P17 now. Took a few more corners than we expected. We're up another place here, so 3 places gained on this opening lap so far. And pushing on towards the end of the lap here. Guan Yu, our next target in the Alfa Romeo. We have to lift massively to avoid hitting him there. Coming through the chicane on the exit, right there behind him there, charging down this main straight, and Stroll right behind us looking to pounce as well, going back towards the start finish line. Albon on the left hand side there, going a bit too slow and now going off into the pit lane, so making an early stop, right of damage on this opening lap. Going to lap 2 though, to the outside of Zhou, into that first corner, and trying to tug in behind the 2 Haas cars, Hulkenberg and Magnussen off the exit in front of Zhou, and now starting to chase those 2 cars down. So a positive start to the sprint race here. Gained 5 places or so in the opening lap of the bit, and now working on these 2 Haas cars. The Hulkenberg, our first target. Will he try and take Magnussen on, or will he fall back to us? He's going to go to the outside, going towards turn 3, trying to get a toe off Magnussen, who covers off Hulkenberg, going into turn number 4, looking on the outside of the German, on the exit, pulling in front. Maybe a bit of contact with them there. Very tight corners go too wide through, but we've managed to make it stick, and we're up into P14 now. So working on chasing down Magnussen, who makes a bit of a mistake there off the last corner, and going back down towards the main straight once again. The last couple of corners on the circuit, chasing K-Mag down here, desperate to try and close back up to him. Of course, you see out front, the leaders got quite a massive extent here, and our tyres are doing okay so far. The back 2 struggling perhaps a bit too much there. They're about a fifth of the way through. I think at this point we're able to make it on those tyres. We're just careful with them. Charging towards turn 1 against Magnussen. They look to make a move into turn 1. They look to the outside. DRS gets deployed on lap number 3, breaking early, try and get a better exit, slowing fast out on the Dane on the exit, losing it on the back end a bit too much. And now Hulkenberg tries to take advantage up the inside, going into turn 2. Very, very tight there. No contact, but Hulkenberg tried it, couldn't make it stick. So he stays behind us then. We'll continue chasing down Magnussen as we run towards turn 3 once again, pushing further onto that. We've managed to get around the Dane here, so up into P13. We're very close to hitting the wall there. Magnussen could go all over us. As a result, look on the attack. We look to the inside, going towards the castle section. Into the right handle we go. Magnussen alongside us there on the exit. He comes out in front. Let's use some of our battery if we can. No need for the battery usage. Still holding on to P13 now. But Gasly 4 seconds up the road as it stands to defend from both Haas cars to the castle, and looking for a smooth exit as best we can here. Off the corner we come. Magnussen still falling away a bit, but still within striking distance, about half a second back from us right now. So it's all down to see if we can just stay in front for as long as we can here against these 2 cars, because the hard tyres won't be doing us too much help here to make our way off the corner. There we go. Magnussen still there behind us, closing all the while. You see how much time he's gained back on us. It's still about half a second. We haven't really tried to get away as much as we would like to, but on the exit, a bit of a poor exit, and Magnussen could have a good chance of us here going down the main straight once again, as we're about a third of the way through the sprint race now. The Ferraris and one of the Red Bulls battling for the top spot right now. There's our hard tyres. How they're doing so far. 30%, they're losing about 10% each lap. Magnussen with a brilliant run here. Looks to the left-hand side, going towards the main straight and back towards the start-finish line to begin lap number 4. He gets in front of us. Hulkenberg and Zhou go side by side into the first corner, but Magnussen is once again pulled in front. So unfortunately, we have to go back behind him and try and figure out another way around him as Zhou moves up in front of Hulkenberg. So pushing on now to the end of lap number 4. Zhou all over us now. He's managed to charge through with relative ease. It's up into P14. Let's try and get those 2 places back. Magnussen pulled away to about a 2-second advantage, and Hulkenberg not too far behind us either. We're really dropping back with him here. Let's try and close back on Zhou as best we can, but Hulkenberg might think first. He goes to the inside, going for turn 2. Once again, he stuck his nose in like he did a few laps ago. But again, it hasn't worked out for him. But all it's done is cost us more time, because Zhou is now almost a second up the road. There's a push on to the end lap number 5 here. We're still closing on him. We're going the main straight. Got a DRS this time, but Hulkenberg is on the outside of us, going towards turn 1 into the braking zone we go. We brake first, which is a rarity in these races, and that's just try and close him out there, which we do going through turn 1. And we've closed to Zhou though, so we can try and make a move on him, potentially going down to turn 3 if we can get enough for run. It's very tense, and I doubt we'll be able to make it stick, but it's worth a go. Hard tyres about halfway through in terms of the back ones. The back ones are the main concern as of right now. We've got to make sure those 2 don't wear themselves out too much towards the end of the race, and also start to struggle. And the gearbox is hugely struggling as Zhou makes a bit of a mistake there. Locks up a little bit going through turn number 3, so we're closing up to him a decent amount here, and could try and go for a move if the timing is right. Hulkenberg about a second back from us now. He's got Stroll for company behind him in P17. You look through the castle section now. and the virtual safety car has been deployed here. We've got Carlos Perez out to the Grand Prix, sprint, sorry. Sergio Perez becomes the first casualty here in Azerbaijan as the virtual safety car is deployed. Very unfortunate for the Mexican here. Let's have a look at what happened to Checo on the replay if we can. Joey gets away to a bit of advantage. We've gone a bit too slowly on the Delta. Let's have a look just at what's gone on. It's in this corner here. We just missed him potentially. He may have just despawned. Let's have a look at just what has gone down. This is Sergio Perez then, making his way towards the left-hander. It may have just caught him out a bit here. Looking on the outside, and he's hit the wall, and he's shattered his back tyre completely, spun the car out, and that's it for him. Sprint over. He'll start dead last for the main Grand Prix. As you see a few cars going past there. I believe that is Alonso and one of the McLarens. I'm seeing the back Lando Norris. Virtual safety car ending now. 3 more laps to go. We try and close back in on Joe and try and take some more places. Now this is where our hard tyre strategy really comes into play, because these guys' medium tyres are running out. Therefore we'll have a bit more grip than them going towards the last couple of laps of this race. That's when we can try and start making up places if Joe is coming to the pits, or if we can just catch them on natural pace. So DRS on Joe here, we're only just still in range. Going to use it. Rear wing goes wide open as we charge down the main straight. 3 more laps to go in this one. Joe not pitting, so the hard medium tyres still doing their job. For how long can they hold on? We'll have to wait and see. Only a few more laps left to go in this thing. Sean Hulkenberg about almost a second back as it stands, so they don't know threat to us right now. Pushing on towards the end of lap number 7 with just under 2.5 laps to go here. Joe makes a bit of a mistake, goes a bit too deep there to the left hander. We're going to take advantage, trying around his outside here. We'll be side by side with him through the chicane, so we get very, very tense. Joe pulls in front. He'll stay in front for the time being, but crucially, we'll have DRS down the main straight, and that'll be helping us a lot more here. We'll look to the outside of the Alfa Romeo, and DRS now wide open once again, pulling half a car alongside, now pulling alongside him, and in front of him to go towards the line. Ocon into the pits here. 2 more laps to go in Azerbaijan. Ocon pits, so it's another place for us, up to P12 now. And it could potentially be more if anyone chooses to pit with a lap to go. Could we still finish in the top 8 and get some points here potentially? It's unlikely. We have to wait and see just what goes on. So in front of Joe, and now closing on Pierre Gasly as he comes through to start the final lap of this sprint race. It's been a fantastic sprint so far. Closing, DRS now deployed on the Frenchman in the Alpines to go towards turn 1. A lot of cars in the pit lane here. Magnussen's one of them. See Bottas, Norris, Piastri, Alonso, all of them in, up into P6 here. De Vries pitting behind, got a bit too deep into one. Contact with Gasly, who's wiped his end plate off there. And out comes Fernando Alonso, and I'll tell you right now, there's one driver you don't want behind you on soft tyres, and the final lap of the sprint race is none other than Fernando Alonso, and Stroll's behind him as well. So Stroll don't pit, these medium tyres will try and go the distance, as will Gasly. They look to the outside, going into turn 3, trying to tighten take away with P6, braking way too early there, just try and hold off, try and make a switch back, but there's contact. Gasly defends brilliantly there, whether accidentally or intentionally. He stays in front. Alonso goes charging around the outside into the castle section. That was very, very gutsy from the 2-time world champion. He's up into P6 now, and those soft tyres for him, I mean, that's the end of the matter. We're not catching him at all. Norris behind us also on soft tyres, and Stroll not spot back either. Currently, we've got 1 more point in this thing as Leclerc comes across the line to win the sprint race. Gasly is trying to pull away, but he's not going to do it. Norris goes to our inside, makes the move stick, gets a lift to avoid hitting him and taking us out the sprint entirely here. We're going to try and hold on to a good starting position. P9 is brilliant for us right now. Contact, we've braked way too late and we've hit Norris as a result. Stroll right there behind us. Norris goes to the inside of Gasly, goes into the last sector for the final time. Norris up the inside, going to try and follow him through, but 2 poor exits. The hard tyres have not done their job. We've had to skid off the corner. I'm very scared for this last little bit, and we've hit Stroll there. Contact, I think he may have got some damage as well. Gasly really dropping back here. Norris is done. We have to wobble the car through the last chicane. You see how much damage Stroll has here. He's closing on us massively here, charging towards the line. We're holding on to P9, but it could be P10, and Sargent behind us as he runs towards the line here to finish in P10 in the sprint race. From P20 to P10, the hard tyre gamble has paid off. We've gained 10 spots. We'll be starting in the top half of the order, going into the main race itself. What an absolutely exciting sprint to kick off this series edition of the shorter races going into the Grand Prix itself. So Leclerc wins it, then Sainz in 2nd, Russell takes away 3rd, Hamilton 4th, Verstappen 5th, Alonso in 6th, Norris 7th, Gasly 8th, Stroll 9th, and we come home in P10 with Logan Sargent following up just behind us in P11. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. I'm really looking forward now to the main race, but could that loss of hard tyres impact us? We'll have to wait and see. So without further ado, let's jump right into the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
And warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku and home, of course, to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today. So our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully out of the barriers. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Cohen, Sargent, Ocon, Norris, Albon, Bottas, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Joe, De Vries, Hulkenberg, Stroll, and Sergio Perez completes our grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me again for today's race. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? That was a solid result in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Here we go then, this is the main event. It's the Azerbaijan Grand Prix starting in the top half of the order after that fantastic sprint race finish, and a few penalties have impacted our starting position as well. We've moved up as a result. Now thanks to that loss of hard tyres, all of a sudden we're in a bit of trouble here because we have no more hards left to use in the Grand Prix. We have to resort to using those used ones if we had to. So only softs and mediums available to us right now. So we're looking at a two-stop strategy if we can. Go on the first set of softs for 8 laps, another 7 or 8 on the second set, and go mediums to the end. I'll be hoping for a safety car of some kind that will really impact us massively, and that is the gamble we have to take now thanks to the use of those hard tyres in the sprint. It's paid off for us. We've gained some places, but now we've got to try and maintain that on tyres that won't last as long. So I'm hoping we'll get a safety car or two in the race somehow to potentially minimise the amount of use we have on the soft tyres in particular. So we can get if we can get a safety car in the early stages, that'd be hugely helpful to us, and hopefully our soft tyres won't run out as much. I mean, we can go perhaps a bit shorter on the mediums at the end as we downsize the fuel. 26 laps to come, hit the Baku City Circuit as we get underway now for the formation laps. So starting from P8 on the grid, Sargent behind us in P9, so he'll be our main target today. Of course, we're going to try and bring home some more points if we can. They're going now charging towards turn 1 to kick off the formation lap and get this Grand Prix underway. Very excited for this one. Baku stirs up chaos for fun. You saw it in the sprint race, and we're going to see it for 26 laps to come here as we make our way towards our grid slot here, looking to get it right in the middle if we can, and we've nailed it completely. Optimal stop. Gasly pulls in there alongside us. So looking forward to getting this underway, and we'll have to see how long these soft tyres take us. We need to do 2 stints on these. 5 red lights now for the main event, the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And once again, lights out, foot to the floor, go, go, go. Decent getaway there compared to Gasly going towards turn 1. We're going to pull alongside him, we're going to brake early to avoid any chaos going into that first corner. Gasly just about stays in front of us. Norris and Sargent go side by side behind us at P9 out of turn 1 into turn 2. We go now, still single file in front of us. Alonso tucks in behind Hamilton, and Leclerc has got away with the lead very nicely indeed there. We've got Russell chasing down and Sainz back there, along with Verstappen in front of us. Norris posing on us as we go towards turn 3. Will he get close to go for a move though? I don't think he will. He'll stay in line. Smart decision this early on. We're very close to contact with Gasly as Norris now takes full advantage of that. Tries to go around the outside. Side by side with us here. Let's stay in front of him though. So maintain position on this opening lap so far. Brilliant stuff there. And Gasly hasn't pulled away too much either. So he's still there just in front of us in striking distance. On to lap number 2 now. He's pulled away to about 2.3 second advantage. It's a slow opening lap for us. Like defense from Norris and Sargent behind. So going through turn 2 now. Norris right there looking to try and take advantage of any stuff that we may have like we did in turn 3 on the first lap. He can look to the outside here, try and take advantage of it thanks to our lack of DRS usage. Let's go late on the brakes if we can, but not worth risking it. Norris into P8, but a bit of a mistake there. He made a mistake like we did on the last lap, and we've taken away P8 once again. So a fantastic battle going back and forth with our fellow compatriot in the McLaren, and Gasly still about 2 seconds in front, with the cars in front are pulling away from him. On to lap number 5 now in this Grand Prix. Norris still threatening us here. He's on a thorn in our side, I believe, first couple of laps or so. He goes up the inside of us, going into the corner. Very, very tight. He gets in front of us just about. Let's give him the space massively there. And let's try and get back around him if we can. I think he may have just got us here, at least for the time being. Green flag now being displayed, the yellow flag behind us, and the safety car has been deployed. 5 laps into this one, and Hulkenberg, who's fought a good amount in the sprint race, now out of the Grand Prix. What has happened to Germany here? I think that might be an incident similar to what happened to Sergio Perez in the sprint race. Perez looking to fight from the field today. Got a strategy change, what's confirmed here. So we're looking perhaps 3 stops now instead of 2. So coming into pit lane here to take advantage of that and make a stop for the first time in this race. Of course, this is our first stop of the weekend. We didn't make a stop in the sprint race, fortunately, unlike some of the cars around us. So coming into the pit lane for the first time, then Norris in front, Sargent just behind us. Our pit window just about opens there. So going into our pit box here, looking for a good stop. The Prix is in as well, so we could be double stacking here. So it'll lose a lot of time in the pit lane by the looks of things. In we come now, and both Williams cars are double stacking as well. So Albon will block us off as Sargent gets away. We're going to lose a number of spots here. It's making a front wing change as well for some reason. Unsure as to why they're doing that. There was no damage I picked up in the opening stage of the race to really hamper us too much. Emerging here in P15 as Albon goes in front of us there. So unfortunate stuff to have lost a lot of places like that in the pit lane. We've seen the pit crew come into clutch in the past, especially on F1 22, but not the case on this game. Let's be careful with that. So look what happened to Hulkenberg here. As he goes towards the corner, it looks to be an incident very similar to Sergio Perez's in the sprint. This time he hits he knocks off his front wing and his front right tyre as opposed to Perez's back right. So he's out of the race, unfortunately. Our first casualty of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So there we are on lap number 8 now. Hamilton leads with Leclerc in second and Russell in third. I'm assuming Hamilton stayed out under this safety car. But now he comes into the pit lane, so making his first stop of the Grand Prix. Not sure onto what tyres, but he's going to lose a lot of track position now. He falls to P19. That puts us up into P13 now. So a few places gained back. We are down in our original starting position. Albon there in front of us. As the safety car coming in this lap, we have to be just off massive thanks to AI control, but we have to close it right back up if we can. We're looking at the restart here. The main aim is to get ourselves back up into the points paying positions if we can. Safety car about to make his way down onto pit road once again, and this time it's Leclerc once again who leads the way with Russell just behind him there. Prepared to resume racing. Here we go, getting back underway on lap number 10 of this Grand Prix. Back to turn 1 we go. Albon our first target, not close to go for a move just yet. Into turn 1, everyone keeps it nice and calm. All single file. Joe behind us doesn't try and go for anything. He's not close enough to go for anything. Go look to the inside of Albon this time through turn 2. Got enough to go for it in the braking zone. On the exit, Albon hits the wall ever so slightly. Might he have damage? I'm hoping not. I'm hoping we're not the cause of that. We made no contact with him. He hit the wall, unfortunately. So pushing on further into that number 10 now. Our next target, Esteban Ocon in the Alpine, locks up a little bit there. Goes to the outside. He may have got a bit of wing damage himself here. No damage. He's lucky to get away with it. Up into P11 now, so one more place away from the points. And then Albon goes for up the inside, very, very aggressive, considering he may have damaged his wing last time. If it wasn't damaged before, it's definitely damaged now. Regardless, we hold on to P11 for the time being, pushing onto lap number 11 now. We've gained a few places, some drivers coming into the pit lane. Up into P8 now, very close there, and Albon has hit the wall right behind us there, and that could be a second safety car. It's a virtual safety car this time. I'm hoping that gets converted to a fourth safety car. That would help us massively here. I mean, it actually saying that might not. In terms of strategy, I see what the plan is in terms of changing tyres, and the safety car is deployed to Albon out of the race here. He crashed right behind us. That could have been us. That is very scary. If we'd been behind him, that could have been our race over potentially. He's coming now into the pit lane under this second safety car, looking at potentially another set of soft tyres. I'm going to go for the medium tyres this time around and go for a soft at the end. I reckon we'll definitely need one more stint. So he has medium tyres going on the car, on this pit stop. Joe in there behind us. The pack a bit more spaced out this time. So hopefully there'll be no more time lost in the pits. In comes the crew, making their change of tyres onto the medium, and De Vries comes in behind us. No places lost this time. We hold on to P11 now. I think several the cars have stayed pitted under the green flag have now taken advantage of that under the safety car. So back into P11 now. So nothing lost in that respect. Basically back where we started from the last safety car. Let's look at what happened to Albon here. And again, it looks like the same corner. That left-hander has caught out 3 drivers, and there he goes off into the wall, goes a bit too deep, and that's all it takes. Back right tyre destroyed, and he is out of it. He saw us pulling away off into the distance there. So on to lap number 14 now. Leclerc leads the way with Russell in second and Sainz in third. Perez back up to 5th now. He's done a fantastic job recovering the thing in terms of the damage he's sustained in the sprint. We're up to P9 now. Verstappen down in P13, so he's struggling here. I think he may have made a pit stop under the green. We'll see several cars coming in. I believe that was I think that was De Vries and that was Ocon. So those two coming in here. We get back to the green flag racing on lap number 16. Bottas about to pull into pit lane himself here. So making a strategy change for Alfa Romeo. I think I saw Magnussen coming in behind him as well. So the green flag now back out. We're back into P8 now. And we're making a move on Stroll into T1. Where did Logan Sargent come from? He's up to P6 now. Doing a fantastic job. We've got to try and beat him. Remember, he's our rival today. And while we've got 5 points on him after the last race, we want to try and maintain those points in terms of the rivalry. We couldn't get around Stroll that time through turn 1 or turn 2. We almost went a bit too wide going through turn 1 trying to get around him. Joe on the hard tyres now, and we're looking to try and pounce. I'm worried about the gearbox here because the warning light on the bottom right is completely red as Sargent and Stroll go at it in front of us here. They're trying to look to the inside of Stroll going into turn number 4 and make it stick here on the inside. No contact made. We're up another position. Brilliant stuff there into P7. But again, I'm still concerned about that gearbox issue. Could it cause us to suffer in the closing laps of the Grand Prix? We haven't had any issues with it. We haven't lost any gears just yet, which is good. The Stroll comes back at us now at the end of lap number 16. 10 more laps to go in this Grand Prix. Still on the outside, we're using our battery to try and stay in front. We've got no DRS just yet. We're closing on Sargent as well. It'd be very aggressive to try and go for moving to turn 1. I'm not going to try it. We'll stick behind our rival to that first corner. And Perez not going to be far in front. Either poor exit there thanks to the lack of tyre grip on these mediums. As of right now, we're still struggling on them to some extent. Not as quick as the soft, and of course the tyre wear will run out extremely fast as well. Piastri goes out in the race too, and our third retiree this Grand Prix. Stroll goes out to us on the left hand side, get up into P7, no safety car then. So it didn't happen out on track, it was looking to happen in the pit lane, and might have involved Max Verstappen, because he's now way down the order. He came to pit lane here, so that's not so what happened. Stroll gets around us for P7. Let's take a look at just what has happened here. We also Piastri, so they're running on board and now. Looks like he's trying to go into the pit lane, but Verstappen's going in. And as you all know, in F1, especially at Baku, 2 do not go into one huge bit of contact. Verstappen, very lucky to still be in the race here, but Piastri is not so lucky. His first Azerbaijan Grand Prix ends in disappointment, and some of that back tyre is still going there. So unfortunate for him. We're down to 17 cars in this race now. On to lap 17. Well, comes in lap number 17, and Joe is all over us. Stroll off in the distance, but all the way over the left-hand side of the track. Let's push him all the way over to the right here. Going to turn 1. Stroll and Sargent, Sean Perez, both pitting, and everyone's pitting. So up to P5 now. DRS now enabled. So the strategy is different for a lot of different cars here. Hard tyre runners, Sainz, Hamilton, Russell in front of us, and Leclerc on those tyres as well. So on to the end of lap number 18 now, closing. So we're trying to close the lead. It's hit the wall there, and Joe will close on us massively here. He's on those hard tyres, but they have a lot more grip than our mediums. And the safety car is out once. We've been saved by that safety car. I'm not quite sure who's out the race this time. We've just missed it. But look, it looks like it is Lance Stroll who's out the Grand Prix, as Alonso's still on the racetrack, and it's a green dot there. It's been caught out, and now despawning. So Stroll out the Grand Prix, and we're coming in here once again, taking advantage of the safety car for what will be hopefully our final stop of this race. We've got a set of soft tyres to go onto in these final stages of the race. We're into pit lane now for our last stop. Joe there behind us, Alonso in as well, Leclerc coming in. He was the race leader for quite some while, and now he's lost out. Hopefully we'll try and get it back for himself. He looks to have a different race winner in terms of team. Of course, Verstappen's romped everyone so far. Into the pit lane for our last stop, then the Williams cars not around us, so no time lost there. Down into P10, Joe Alonso just there behind us, as Gasly moves up into P9 once more. So we're shaping up for it to be a very exciting final few laps of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So on to lap 22, and at the end of lap number 22, Russell leads, Sainz second, Hamilton back up to third, Leclerc in fourth, Perez fifth, Verstappen sixth, Sargent seventh, Norris eighth, Gasly ninth, and we hold on to the final points paying place. Stroll, Albon, Piastri, Hulkenberg all out of the race. We've got 4 more laps to decide this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Who comes out on top? Will we try and score some points? There's only one way to find out. Mercedes safety car now, making its way into the pit lane for one final time, hopefully one final time. Let's make these soft tyres go to the end of the Grand Prix here and try and claim some late points. 2 cars in front of us on hard tyres. We're at a great advantage here. The green flag goes back out. We get back to racing. 4 laps to go here in Baku. We're going to get right to work here to the inside of Gasly into turn 1. We're going to try and take Norris as well. Illegal overtake on Gasly. We must have passed him just before the line there. So Gasly has to go back around us. We've lost a heap load of time now. And Joe goes around the outside of us going to turn 2 as well. So we've lost both places here. Joe now in the points. We've fallen back. Alonso knock on side by side with P12 behind us. Let's try and get these places back as best we can. I'm wondering, will that gearbox start to give us issues now? I'm hoping not. Hoping it can hold out these last couple of laps here. Joe's still there, right there in front of us, but Alonso to our inside there, going to the left-hander where so many drivers have retired today. There's contact. Alonso shunts us. We managed to keep it in front of him. Him and his Aston Martin we are struggling here to hold on to it. Zhou makes a mistake, goes a bit too deep. They're going to take advantage and go back into the points paying positions now. We've been from an absolute lifeline here and back into the points. But Gasly almost a second in front of us now, so if DRS comes back into play, which it will, we have nothing left to respond with as Zhou goes back to our inside, trying to get it back. There he goes on the right-hand side, side by side for us down the main straight. Alonso and Ocon closing at a rate of knots as well. We push Zhou towards the wall here. Zhou backing off, he's going into the pit lane here in these last couple of laps. Alonso to the outside now, back in the points, but Alonso swipes it from us once more, going into turn 1 by half a car length. Into turn 1 we go, trying to force Alonso out. We hold on to P10 here, but will our gearbox again start giving us issues? I'm hoping it won't. It looks like we may be starting to get some form of problem. Not quite sure what's going on. We're a bit slower on the exit, but Alonso is still there behind us. I'm hoping that we'll be able to hold out. We haven't lost anything just yet. Alonso behind us, waiting to pounce, waiting for the opportunity to make a move. Ocon and Bottas behind us. Poor exit there. The soft tyres are finally given in. And there goes Alonso back up into the points and forcing us out once more here. Let's do everything in our power to try and get him back. Let's go through the opening corners of the lap and try and chase him back down though. Back towards the left-hander in the sector 2. Yellow flag in front of us. And that is Sergio Perez. He's lost it again. Retiring from both the sprint and the main race. Perez is out. We've been given yet another lifeline and thrown back inside the points. But I think the gearbox might be starting to develop some issues now. But look, there we go. We're losing gears. We've lost a gear here. And Bottas goes charging through. It can't handle the high speeds of the Baku City circuit. And all of a sudden, we're losing out. Bottas into P10. Ocon will now get us for P11 as we go down the main straight. We haven't lost gear 8, which is crucial. I doubt we'll be too favourable going into the braking zone in turn number 1. Ocon goes through with 2 laps to go, unfortunately. And it looks like that is our chances completely shot for this Grand Prix. They're trying to go late on the brakes into turn 1, but we're yet to shift down. We're still in gear 7. Have to go all the way back to the gears in order to try and get back up to speed again. And I dare say that'll be the end of the matter. With Zhou about 12 seconds back. It looked like he might even catch us here towards the end of the race. And hoping not. A lap and a half to go, more or less. But the gearbox is completely given in here. So let's try and handle it as best we can. On to the last lap of the Grand Prix, going into the final sector. It's Russell and Leclerc charging for the finish line here. Russell has taken the lead in this last restart, trying to take advantage and win for the first time this season for Mercedes, make it a second different winner in 2023. Leclerc behind him though. I doubt Leclerc will let him go, trying to make it a sprint and a race win. Going down the main straight for the final time. Leclerc to the inside, Sainz there in third, counts as a mistake. Leclerc on the DRS, pulling in front of Russell. That's all he needs. The Monegasque comes to the line and wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Russell home in second. Gutted to miss out there, and Sainz in third. On to our last lap now. Zhou has caught us completely here. He's only a couple tenths behind us. Leclerc comes to the line in front, wins the Grand Prix. Going a bit too deep there. Zhou takes advantage, goes side by side with us, charging towards the last couple of corners. We've gained our gears back now. The issue is figured itself, and now Zhou is our last target. He's got in front of us, but now we have the DRS. Go on one final charge here down this last straight for the last time in the sprint and the race itself. DRS deployed, closing on towards the line, but it comes to the line here. It's not going to be enough. Zhou runs to it and crosses the line just in front of us, about half a car length. That was a close finish. Very entertaining finish. It's been a very entertaining race weekend. The sprint and the race have been absolutely brilliant. I'm losing my voice at this point. Fantastic race. Thoroughly enjoyed every single minute of that one.
Well, what a drive that was to take the win for Ferrari today. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, you know what they say, to finish first you have to finish. And that fact was clear today, with lots of retirements having a big effect on the outcome of the race. As a driver, you tend to keep reliability concerns to the back of your mind and just focus on what's in front of you. But for the teams, races like this can be very stressful.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
So Charles Leclerc then walks away with a sweep, winning both the sprint and the race itself, making him the second winner in 2023 after Verstappen romped the first 3 races. Poor day for Red Bull in response, with Perez retiring from the Grand Prix in the closing laps there. All in all, that was absolutely fantastic stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed every single moment of this race weekend. Despite it not ending the way we wanted, we didn't quite score any points in the end. We lost it in the last 2 straights both times, but still brilliant stuff all round.
Despite the best efforts of our championship leader, That lead has taken a bit of a knock today. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Often my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. No change in the top spot then, but with today's points, their hold on that lead is getting weaker. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend for them as they fight their way towards the top. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Let's have a look at the race results from this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Leclerc wins it, Russell second, Sainz in third, Verstappen brings home the only points for the weekend for Red Bull in fourth, Norris in fifth, Hamilton sixth, Sargent gets seventh in the end, his first points of his F1 career, Alonso in eighth, Gasly 9th, and Ocon swaps the final point. We finish in P13, 7 seconds clear of our teammate Nick De Vries. Considering we started the weekend dead last in qualifying, I'm satisfied with how it went. We went as high as P8 from the start of the Grand Prix and finished in P13, which I'm overly satisfied with. 10th place in the Drivers' Championship as of right now, thanks to the points we scored last time out in Australia. Verstappen still leads the way, but 21 points back is Leclerc now, so we could see a Verstappen versus Leclerc fight this season, and Red Bull still lead by 38 points, but Ferrari have closed that gap, and we still sit in 8th place, but Williams have closed the gap on us now, just a few points, but it's only 3 points in front of McLaren in 5th place, so it's all to play for in his opening stage of the season. Regardless, guys, that is the end of the episode. I do hope you've enjoyed this one. I apologise, it's been so long since the last one. It's been quite a long episode to edit. I had a sprint and a full race to do. Regardless, hope you enjoyed watching it. If you guys did enjoy watching it, make sure to like, share and subscribe for regular Formula One content. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in my next video. Have a good day, guys, and goodbye.